Good day and welcome back to the Family Cyber Clinic. This week, as you can see in the description, we're going to discuss 6 things that you must do as you unbox your new computer. It could be a laptop, a workstation, a tablet. But these are the 6 things you must do the moment you launch or switch on the box. You know, the power button. These things are crucial. And I'm hoping that you will find this as easy as possible. And it's important that we do this. You know, if we want to remain private, if we want to remain secure and keep the rogue out, these things are vital. So I'm just going to whiz through them and hopefully this will be of use to you. Okay? So the first thing we must do when we turn on our computer and we're ready to go is to set up a computer name. And this will apply if you've bought an Apple computer or a Windows computer. The first question they're going to ask you is set up a computer name. And the reason why this is important is many of us, as compliant as we ought to be, will just simply put a name like Lawrence's computer or Lawrence, whatever my surname is computer. And that is frowned upon because that's information that you're giving the rogue. And what do I mean by that? Your computer name is usually a piece of information that is included if you're going to say Starbucks or Costa Coffee and you log onto their network. They identify your system with the computer name, of course, including the IP address. And of course, you want to give the rogue as little as possible. By calling it Lawrence's computer, you've given him half of my name or half of your name. So it's important that you set this up. And there's no real problem calling it Apple 1000 or Apple 2021. Make it as vague as possible. You know, something that you can identify with and no one else can. So it's important that you set up the computer name with as less information or the least information that you will want to have in the public domain. Just keep the rogues out, okay? So that's the first. The second is similar but also as important, and that's setting up a user account. It's important that you set this user account carefully because this is going to be the administrator account. And it's one that we advise as a clinic that you don't use for daily, your daily engagements. So you set this up with a name. Equally, don't give it a name, Lawrence, surname. No, just give it a nickname. Nickname, my beautiful computer, 123. Or something vague, okay? But it's important that you make sure that this is as cryptic as possible. Just give it a name, a username that you would know and nobody else will know, okay? And because it's the admin account, you want to make it as difficult as possible for anyone to hack. So it's important that you also pay the same attention as you did with the computer name with the user account, okay? Remember, it's the admin account and you only use it on occasion. So that's important. That's our second point. The third point is create a second user account immediately. And the reason why this is important is because, like I mentioned, you're not going to be using the admin account you created earlier in number 2 for daily use. This is the account you're going to be daily using. So you create that account and, of course, follow the same advice. Don't make it too obvious, but create it. And this will be a normal user, or what the operating systems will call a standard user account. And if you required any installation of software or configuration, the account with elevated permissions will be called upon, and that will be your admin account. But this account is important. The reason why it's for daily use is the less privileges it has, the less the hacker can do damage if your system is compromised. So this is a standard user account that must be created immediately. Don't use the admin account that we created or set up in number 2, okay? And there's a fourth. The fourth is enable antivirus and anti-malware software. Now, these days, your computer, laptop, whatever it is, ships with a trial version of antivirus or anti-malware applications. The clinic would advise that you enable or activate the reputable versions of these applications. And if you go to the portal or click on the link here, you see the ones we recommend. It's important that you use reputable antivirus and anti-malware applications. And the reason why we're insisting on this is at times the antivirus or anti-malware applications could actually be the weak link. And that's because antivirus and anti-malware applications are, by nature, they have elevated permissions so that they can protect, they can do all the things like web scanning that you require them to do. Now, if it's not reputable, it's easy to understand that it's quite possible that they will not be as diligent with patching up or keeping the bugs out on their own application, so that those holes don't now transfer onto your system. So reputable antivirus and anti-malware vendors pay attention to those weaknesses I'm mentioning. Okay, so you must use reputable ones. And of course, on the Windows platform, there's one that comes, that ships with the OS, which is Windows Defender, and it does a pretty good job. Make sure you activate or enable Windows Defender on the Windows 10 platform. Okay, that's important too. Now we go to 5. Please feel free to put your comments so that we can understand your experiences and indeed what you are advising. It's just quite useful that we engage. Number 5 here, I've said that we need to enable automatic operating system updates. That's important. Operating system updates. You make sure that you enable it so that you'll be protected from, at least to a large extent, from zero-day attacks. Because these are how the vendors send out their fixes for bugs that have been found seconds ago. Automatic updates will allow you get the protection that these vendors want you to have. So make sure you've enabled automatic updates. And of course, if it gets in the way, you can schedule it. But the important thing is that you have automatic updates enabled. Whatever way you do it, you must make sure you're applying updates in a timely fashion, okay? And the last but not the least is enabling a firewall. And that's important, of course, where applicable, because there's some OSs that it's not quite straightforward to enable a firewall. It's easy on the Windows 10 platform, soon to be Windows 11, but you have to enable it. And a firewall does a lot of things. Apart from the privacy benefits that you get from enabling a firewall, because that just means that your traffic is encrypted. Every engagement, your username, your computer name, all that is wrapped up in encryption. So the other parties, the rogues, don't get to see the things like your IP address. And even if they do, they'll see what we call a NATed address, which is not really your address, but it's an address that you are presenting. And that protects your identity, gives you a lot of privacy. So enabling a firewall is crucially important too, if you know how. And of course, if you're having problems knowing how to do that, feel free to engage me, engage the platform, and let's help you along that path. But importantly, where applicable, it's important that you enable a firewall, okay? I thought I'll run through those. And of course, with the benefits of technology, you can go back and go through this in your at your own pace. But it's important that you do these 6 things the moment you unbox that new computer, new Apple or new Windows computer. Okay? Good stuff. All right, so we obviously As you can see on the screen, we never end our broadcast without giving you an opportunity to subscribe and to like this content if it's of benefit to you, and to share it with your friends and family. This is so important, crucially important, because we want to go on this journey and remain on this journey with you and your young ones, okay? So make noise. Make enough noise about what this platform has offered you. And of course, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with your friends and family. Okay, I've been your host, Lawrence Edem. Until next week when we'll do this all over again, God bless and goodbye.